spice must flow. Spice must flow.
It's time to start the magic on the Globus show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus show. See the sights, so much to know. Across the lands, hand in hand, we join the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus show, where every day's a brand new episode. On the Globus show, it's Bring the fun in a world where adventure is never done. Every corner we turn, a new friend in tow. It's time to start the magic on the Globus Show.
I just met you. This is
It's
crazy.
time to learn and grow on the Globus Show.
Falling day.
See the sights, so much to know. Across the lands, hand in hand, we join the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus Show, where every day's a brand new episode.
On the Globus Show, on the Globus Show.
My circuitry's 12 years out of date. I can't keep up with today's high-speed top-of-the-line kids.
On the Globus Show.
It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show, 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 on the Globus
Morning Twitch. And it's already broken. Yay. Mm. Okay, 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 okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Larry. Good morning, Towards Night. Good morning, Levelhead. Levelhead, thank you for the 21 months and the gifty over to Reed. It's appreciated. Good morning, Adam. And good morning, Reed. You didn't? Okay. Good morning, Master Goosey. It's too early in the morning for jokes. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yep, we got that on the docket today. So yeah. Without further ado, let's get at it. Well, we're going to start with Boeing. Some of you may know Boeing has a Starliner space capsule gonna launch into space. Boeing says leak on its spacecraft is totally fine. Will launch astronauts without fixing it. Boeing's Starliner space capsule has been marred by endless setbacks. Just ask poor NASA, which has been waiting on the spacecraft to be ready to ferry astronauts to the International Space Station since 2014. The latest blow was a small helium leak discovered earlier this month, which delayed, yet again, the long-awaited launch of its first crewed mission. But that issue is apparently no big deal. At a news conference on Friday, Boeing and NASA said they were going to proceed with the launch without fixing the leak, in a decision that is bound to raise eyebrows as the company is already mired in controversy over the safety of its aircraft. We can handle this particular leak if that leak rate were to grow even up to 100 times. In other words, even if the leak were to become significantly worse, its impact on the safety of the launch would be minimal. Oh. Starliner's last attempted launch, which was on May 6th, was unceremoniously called off when the astronauts were already on board. Cued in by a strange buzzing sound, officials discovered a faulty oxygen valve on the United Launch Alliance's Atlas V rocket. Baby, I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me baby. Thank you for the follow. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Why aren't you working properly? Oxygen go boom. That wasn't necessarily Boeing's fault. Everything is Boeing's fault. Let's just start there and work backwards. But in the aftermath of the scuttled launch, a flaw was found on the Starliner itself. The helium leak on the spacecraft's service module caused by a defective seal. The issues are apparently unrelated, and Stitch said that the leak only affects one of the it only affects one of the Starliner's 28 attitude control thrusters. Flying with the leak isn't as bad as it sounds. And this dude's name is Stitch. Steve Stitch. Like Leela and Stitch. Oh my god. Arguing that leaks haven't stopped launches from being successfully carried out in the past, including with SpaceX's Dragon capsule, which is NASA's vehicle of choice for transporting astronauts to the ISS. Yeah. Good luck, homies. I wish you the best luck. Hope the plane don't crash. More, yeah, exactly. The flex seal on it. More space news, real quick. Innovative NASA solution for cleaning up space debris efficiently. New data analysis. Look at these dots. This is all the crap that we just have, right? And you'll notice how this is the Earth, and it's real difficult to see the Earth. This is very bad dots. None of these dots are good dots. New data analysis suggests that NASA and its partners might have discovered more cost effective ways to tackle the growing issue of orbital debris than previously believed. NASA's Office of Technology Policy and Strategy has released a new report that provides agency leadership with important new insights into how to measure the risks presented by orbital debris. Growing activity in Earth's orbit has brought us everything from faster terrestrial communications to a better understanding of our changing climate. These blossoming opportunities are resulting in a more crowded space environment. This study is part of NASA's work to rapidly improve our understanding of that environment, as outlined in NASA's recently released Space Sustainability Strategy. Space Sustainability Strategy, by applying an economic lens to this critical issue. The report is phase 2 of OTPS's work to address the technical and economic uncertainties associated with orbital debris. So, what is the actual thing? New report has improved the quality of the estimates of risks posed by spacecraft or posed to spacecraft by orbital debris. These new estimates cover everything from the largest debris in space down to millimeter-sized fragments. In total, the study compares the cost effectiveness of more than 10 different actions that can be taken to reduce the risk from orbital debris, such as shielding, tracking small debris, or remediating large debris. I'm disappointed. I was hoping that I was going to read something about cleaning this shit up. Eventually, the team hopes to assess the cost effectiveness of combinations of different actions known as portfolios. Yeah, there's a lot of words to we we're just looking at the dots. Yeah. Well, they got to go up there, so I hope they can figure it out. Beijing answers Biden's CHIPS Act with 47.5 billion Big Fund 3, China's largest ever semiconductor investment fund. China has set up the country's largest ever semiconductor investment fund to propel development of the domestic chip industry, the latest effort from Beijing to achieve self sufficiency as the U.S. seeks to restrict its growth. The third phase of National Integrated Circuit Industry Investment Fund has amassed 344 billion won, or $47.5 billion, from the central government and various state owned banks and enterprises, including Industrial and Commercial Bank of China Limited, according to Tian Yancha, an online platform that aggregates official company registration information. Fund was incorporated on May 24th. The latest investment vehicle, known as Big Fund 3, underscores a renewed push from Xi Jinping's uh, government to build its own semiconductor industry as tensions with the U.S. escalate. The Biden administration has imposed sweeping restrictions on China's ability to buy advanced chips and chip making equipment, and is now urging allies, including the Netherlands, Germany, South Korea, and Japan, to further tighten curbs on China and plug holes in existing export controls. Shares of China's major chip stocks jumped on Monday. Uh, SMIC, the largest chip maker in China, rose as much as 8.1% in Hong Kong, while Hua Hong Semiconductor Limited, a smaller competitor, climbed more than 10%. We'll see how that develops. Research, I'm a professional. Researchers find LLMs can conduct financial analysis better than humans. The research could potentially change how financial analysis works in the future. Researchers at the University of Chicago discovered that large language models, such as GPT 4, are capable of conducting financial statement analysis with an accuracy that rivals their human counterparts and, in some cases, surpasses them. The group published their finding this week in a paper entitled Financial Statement Analysis with Large Language Models. What up, Freedom Dow? I mean, to an extent, we have that where you can hook up um, people using various fMRI and other contraptions um, to uh, to analyze the data, run it through AI, and then come up with what you call it, an LLM without hookup to the brain. I mean, that would be on another level. What up, Elron? Yes, yes. Oh yeah. How's that go? What up, Cosmic? Um, they tested the performance of GPT-4 in analyzing corporate financial statements to predict future earnings growth. Even without any narrative or industry specific information, the LLM outperforms financial analysts in its ability to predict earnings changes. The LLM exhibits a relative advantage over human analysts in situations when the analyst tends to struggle. Furthermore, we find that the prediction accuracy of LLM is on par with the performance of a narrowly trained, state of the art machine learning model. The group said that the LLM was able to generate useful narrative insights about a company's future performance and that its trading strategies based on GPT's predictions yield a higher Sharpe ratio and alphas than strategies based on other models. Well, isn't that nice for all of them? Scans your brain, gets weather data, and then outputs accurate sims. Neat. Okay, so we have a new attempt. IO thinks its Gen AI earbuds can succeed where Humane and Rabbit stumbled. The Alphabet X spinout will release the IO1 this winter, starting at $599. Is this what you're going with? So this is a phone, and this is what you're supposed to stick in your ear and have $600 for AI earbuds, rather large ones. Um, a month after launching its first, yeah, we know about that. Okay, so the AI pin didn't do well. They're trying to sell the company. Rabbit R1 is a disaster, and if you watch the CoffeeZilla video, you know exactly how bad a disaster it is. IO represents a third form factor in the push to deliver standalone generative AI devices. Unlike Humane, which attempted to introduce a wholly new form factor by way of a lapel pin, IO is building its technology into already wildly successful category, the Bluetooth earbud. When IO1 launches this winter, the company will be able to build on several years of consumer education around the integration of assistants like Alexa and Siri into the headphones. The leap from that to more sophisticated LLM models is far shorter than one like the AI pin. Uh, how does it work? Okay, yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. Um, you like you're you've got something that you're sticking in your ear. That is a hell of a link there, Freedom. Um, the these things are huge. They're the size of your ear, right? Which might not mean anything, but people are definitely going to know you got them in, that kind of thing. How do they work? Headphones are noticeably larger than standard Bluetooth earbuds. That's due in part to the inclusion of a significantly. You cannot bite me. Yeah, no, it's definitely giving Cybermen, right? Um, what do they do though? Noticeably larger, bigger battery, 16 hours on the charge. So at the least, they're peripheral, right? Um, you use them along with your phone, which is what we were talking about back when we were talking about the pin and how that would have been a better way to go with the pin. But what do they do? I'm like this. I'm this far down in your article, and I don't know what your thing does. This is. I feel like. Well, this is how I felt with the rabbit, right? I at least understood what the AI pin was supposed to do. The rabbit, I never understood why it wasn't just like an app. And I'm struggling to find any information in here of why I should pay $600 for a a pair of headphones, pair of earbuds. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. Yeah, the ones that I use are my primary are are Bluetooth, but they're wired to each other, right? This this to me, this is like the best form factor because it's very easy to um keep track of them. The hooks are nice. I need the hooks. Um, you know, and then I hang the other one on my chest when I'm in one ear mode or on my collar, and then I can put them both in. They have decent noise canceling, good sound. I'm a fan. The only thing is they don't last as long as I would like, but there's a balance there between battery size and the other thing. All right. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on with that. I'm gonna find out what's going on with. Uh, I'm gonna move these. 'Cause we got two articles on Altman and OpenAI, and I want to look at it. So we're gonna look at it now because this is my. Yeah, no, I feel you, right? Like, but and don't get me wrong, I have the dongle, right, where that I can plug into here and work off that. You know, you plug in the dongle and then you plug in the wired headphones. Um, the problem that I have specifically, Elron, with the with going wired headphones is when I'm watching Twitch on my phone and I'm working in my kitchen. I want to set my phone down in a place that I can view it uh, and walk away to do other stuff. You know what I mean? Okay, I mean, I can appreciate, like, you're very enthusiastic about what you're doing, Freedom. Um, but I just, I need to provide you with a context that this is my show, right? And it has a format that I use. If you have a lot to say, might I recommend that you start your own Twitch show? And if that's outside of your capability, I could understand that. But I'm not sure what it is that you're trying to get across, right? You need to be more concise with the information that you're trying to get it across. When I'm looking at here, you're talking about, you're dropping Wikipedia articles, you're dropping links to a GitHub, um, and then you're running AI existed before humanity existed. We are not that special. You're kind of like going off the rails a little bit. I understand. I'm I'm even though if I'm not responding to the things that you're saying, we're not going to debate anything. We do not debate in my house. This is my house. Right? This is our community but my house. We do not debate in here. Okay. You need to take a break. I'm going to give you some breaky time. Okay? Okay. This way you can still watch, you can catch the vibes. This might not be the community for you, right? Because that is definitely a series of words. The last thing you wrote is a series of words, but I am not going to dignify it with a response. And like, it looks like you've had some trouble in another community with a friend of mine, and I'm starting to understand maybe why. So, where were we? Um, it's okay, Larry. Don't worry about it. Let's
I don't
talk.
know who I am anymore. I'm getting too much money.
Thank you, Towards Night. Giant earbuds. No, we're done with the giant earbuds because I don't understand what the giant earbuds are about either. This dude reminds me of what's his name from Always Sunny, right? Like, I'm not getting strong vibes. We're going to talk about OpenAI. We got a couple of OpenAI articles to look at, and this sounds interesting. Former OpenAI board members say the company can't be trusted to govern itself. No argument here. I don't think any company can be trusted to govern itself. But let's find out. Two former OpenAI board members have said that artificial intelligence companies can't be trusted to govern themselves and that third party regulation is necessary to hold them accountable. Helen Toner, we met a while back on that Bloomberg AI show. And Helen Toner has strong opinions about China, among other things. Tasha McCauley was the one that when all this was jumping off that I didn't know too much about. But Helen Toner and Tasha McCauley were board members at OpenAI before they stepped down in November amid a chaotic push to oust CEO Sam Altman. Altman was swiftly reinstated as CEO days after his dismissal, and he returned to the board 5 months later. In an op ed for The Economist published Sunday, Toner and McCauley wrote that they stood by their decision to remove Altman, citing statements from senior leaders that the co founder created a toxic culture of lying and engaged in behavior that could be characterized as psychological abuse. Okay, so first off, jump. Um, when they ousted Sam Altman, they said that something along the lines of had lost the board's confidence or trust or something like that. You know, this is different from how it was presented. Maybe had you stepped up with this kind of talk, then you could have had you could have removed Sam Altman from the board. But instead, it sounded like it was just a disagreement rather than actually um a big deal, right? It's all about presentation. If I want to make you aware of something and bring it to your attention, then I need to do it in a way that's going to get your attention instead of what they did, which was really to downplay any particular problem and just say he lost confidence in the board so that everyone thought that y'all were out of pocket as opposed to Sam Altman being out of pocket. Anywho, since Altman returned to the board in March, OpenAI has been questioned about its commitment to safety and criticized for using an AI voice that sounded eerily like the actor Scarlett Johansson for ChatGPT 4.0. So again, yes, the previous safety board is some of them departed and then it was dissolved and now there's a new safety board. And the Scarlett Johansson thing we covered in an article yesterday that apparently 6 days ago, Washington Post received information, including a recording of the voice actress who did the voice for Sky that sounds exactly like Sky and is just a voice actress doing her job. And it happens to sound to some people like Scarlett Johansson. So with Altman back at the helm, Toner and Macaulay wrote that OpenAI couldn't be trusted to hold itself accountable. We also feel that developments since he returned to the company, including his reinstatement to the board and the departure of senior safety focused talent, bode ill for the OpenAI experiment in self governance. Toner and Macaulay argued that for OpenAI to succeed in its stated mission to benefit all of humanity, I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. Thanks for the follow. Governments need to intervene and establish effective regulatory frameworks now. Yes, beyond now. Yesterday. The former board members wrote that they once believed OpenAI could govern itself, but based on our experience, we believe that self governance cannot reliably withstand the pressure of profit incentives. Yeah, no shit. Toner and Macaulay qualified their calls for government regulation by acknowledging that poorly designed laws could potentially hinder competition and innovation by burdening smaller companies. It is crucial that policymakers act independently of leading AI companies when developing new rules. They must be vigilant against loopholes, regulatory moats that shield early movers from competition, and the potential for regulatory capture. Agreed. Let's do that to everybody. Fair? In April, the Department of Homeland Security announced the establishment of the Artificial Intelligence Safety and Security Board, which it said would provide recommendations for safe and secure development and deployment of AI throughout the U.S.'s critical infrastructure. The board's 22 members include Altman and chief executives of large tech companies, including NVIDIA and Alphabet. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know what you want me to do. I can't take you people seriously. This is Helen Toner. This is not Helen Toner. Interesting. Former OpenAI board member Helen Toner revealed explosive new details about what led to CEO Sam Altman's brief ousting in November. In an interview with Bilawal Sidhu, apologize if I said that wrong, on the TED AI show, which aired Tuesday, Toner said Altman had lied to the board multiple times. As one example, Toner said OpenAI's board learned about the release of ChatGPT on Twitter. She said that Altman was withholding information and misrepresenting things that were happening in the company for years. Toner, one of the board members who voted to kick Altman out, alleged Altman also lied to the board to keep them in the dark about the company's ownership structure. Sam didn't inform the board that he owned the OpenAI startup fund, even though he constantly was claiming to be an independent board member with no financial interest in the company. Altman keeping that from the board really damaged our ability to trust him, and that the board was already talking pretty seriously about whether we needed to fire him in October. Again, a bunch of them actually, like the new board or the old board. Um, Thinking Saber Cat. Also, what up? Um, Toner, currently a director of strategy at the Center for Security and Emerging Technology at Georgetown, alleges the OpenAI chief also gave board members inaccurate information about the small number of formal safety processes that OpenAI had in place. She said that it made it basically impossible for the board to understand if the safety measures were sufficient or if any changes were needed. She said there were other individual examples, but ultimately the board concluded that we just couldn't believe things that Sam was telling us, and that's a completely unworkable place to be in as a board. Okay, Thinking Sabercat, I appreciate your information. You can join the Discord and put your information in the Discord. Thank you. We're having a fun one today. I appreciate enthusiasm. I really do. Toner, last October, the board had a number of conversations where two executives detailed their own experiences with Altman, in which they used the phrase psychological abuse. Uh, okay, so I really want to drive this home. Um, So this is New York Times from November. Um, Mr. Altman's departure follows a deliberative review process by the board, which concluded that he was not consistently candid in his communications with the board, hindering its ability to exercise its responsibilities. The board no longer has confidence in his ability to continue leading OpenAI. Jesus Christ. Again with the invalid like it's literally a fresh one. I do it all the friggin' time. I don't know what Discord's problem is. Like it can't keep a fresh. I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. There you go. Anywho, yeah. Do you understand the difference between this statement? This is the statement that they gave. Pretty much the entirety of the thing. And the difference between that and that it was totally impossible for the board to trust his word, psychological abuse, um, just all this information that's coming out from them now versus what was coming out from them at the time. By the time the board realized Altman needed replacing, Toner says it was clear that Altman would pull out all the stops to block the board from going against him if he found out. She claims he started lying to other board members in order to try and push me off the board. She said, "We were very careful, very deliberate about who we told, which was essentially almost no one in advance, other than obviously our legal team, and so that's kind of what took us to November 17th. I don't know. The entire thing is just sketchy as fuck. Not that I'm saying, again, Sam Altman is the CEO. Sam Altman is, got his own, kind of sketchy going on. But, like, it's in the same vein as people um, who write a book about how terrible so and so was, and well, where were you at the time that it was happening, right? When you could have actually done something. What did you do? Um, yeah, Helen Toner worked in China studying the AI industry. Um, when this says China, it means Taiwan. K-Pars and Maggie, y'all came in the same car? Is that how you got here at the same time? Yeah. So in 2021, she was appointed to the board of OpenAI. Um, and then she published a report. And here we go. Here's another thing. In October 2023, she published the report Decoding Intentions, Artificial Intelligence and Costly Signals with two co-authors. OpenAI has drawn criticism for many other safety and ethics issues related to the launch of ChatGPT and GPT-4, including regarding copyright issues, labor conditions for data annotators, and the susceptibility of their products to jailbreaks that allow users to bypass safety controls. This is fucking valid as shit, right? Like this is the important thing. And then after paper's publication, Altman tried to push out Toner because he thought the paper was critical of the company, and it is. This is valid, right? But where were you in November when you could have been saying all this stuff like immediately? I don't know. Just irritating. Shifting gears, Klarna using Gen AI to cut marketing costs by $10 million annually. Actually, one of the most interesting areas of AI is in medicine, yes, as well as ways to monitor people in conditions like comas for body turning and maintaining circulation. It's just a shame we haven't had the robot and cyborg revolution yet. I mean, I'm with you on that. But yeah, no, like we cover a lot of I mean, I do this daily, so there's a lot of news that goes through, and medicine is generally one of the places that is, kind of non-controversial. The rest of AI tends to fall into that controversial area. Um, so fintech firm Klarna, one of the early adopters of generative AI, said on Tuesday it is using AI for purposes such as running marketing campaigns and generating images, saving about $10 million in costs annually. The company has cut its sales and marketing budget by 11% in the first quarter, with AI responsible for 37% of the cost savings, while increasing the number of campaigns. Just see. Klarna, this is 2022. Klarna to lay off 10% of its workforce as souring economy but hits buy now, pay later space. Right? I'm sure that this had nothing to do with AI, he said. Yeah. It has generated more than 1,000 images in the first 3 months of 2024 using generative AI, reducing the image development cycle from 6 weeks to 7 days. And don't get me wrong, I am in favor of this. Automate everything, right? But people are not sufficiently talking about the job impact. They want to talk about misinformation and disinformation, which is an issue, but the important thing is the job impact. The fact that people are going to lose jobs. There will not be jobs. And then what will we do then? Thermal power cell harvests electricity from heat at record efficiency. A new heat to energy converter has reached a record efficiency of 44%. The average steam turbine manages about 35% for comparison. This thermophotovoltaic cell is a major step on the way to sustainable grid scale renewable energy storage. Supposedly, there's a story about some country in Western singer having AI use his voice to release an album. Yeah, it's Randy Travis, right? I think it was Randy Travis. Yeah. Randy Travis had a stroke. What up, Red Hobbit? Yeah. Um, good morning. I know it's hard to wake up, and I know life kind of sucks, but you got this. With renewable energy prices dropping fast, the barrier now is their intermittency. The first point any renewable energy skeptic will throw at you, but what happens at night or when the wind isn't blowing? A little thing called batteries can help out there, and there's no shortage of grid scale storage systems that can save energy for literally rainy days. It includes scaling up classics like lithium ion, but more experimental designs like iron air, water and salt, flow batteries, or a variety of gravity based systems. One of the most promising avenues is storing energy as heat. The medium itself can be broad sand, molten salt, volcanic ash, carbon blocks, clay bricks. Many others are in the works, but unfortunately, getting the energy back out of heat and turning it into electricity can be the tricky part. That's where the new system comes in. Developed by researchers at the University of Michigan, this device works on the principle of thermophotovoltaics. It's similar to solar cells, which are photovoltaic, generating electricity from light. Thermophotovoltaics obviously add heat to the mix. In practice, that means they absorb photons from the infrared part of the spectrum rather than the higher energy visible light photons that solar cells capture. The new thermovoltaic cell was tested with silicon carbide as the heat storage material, although it could be swapped out for whatever else works. This is surrounded by a semiconductor material made of indium, gallium, and arsenic, carefully designed to capture the broadest range of photons, and specifically those produced by the heated material. This is the most janky ass. oh, ah. Graphic design is my passion. so yeah, where were we? When the team heated the material to 1400 to 35 degrees C, it starts radiating thermal photons at a range of energy levels, with 20 to 30% of them able to be captured by the semiconductor. To make use of some of those with higher and lower energies, the cell contains a thin layer of air after the semiconductor, followed by a gold reflector layer. This bounces some photons back to the semiconductor to be converted into electricity, while others bounce back to the heat storage material, giving them another chance of being emitted as the right kind of photon. That's kind of wild. Its design results in a total power conversion efficiency of 44%. That makes it more efficient than others that operate at the same temperature, which top out at 37%. Other designs have surpassed 40% before, but they work at much higher temperatures. They can be less feasible in many situations. So I'm excited. Also, since we have a few extra people in chat, right there, if you want to support your streamer and you don't have the finances available to drop, a gift sub or a sub or bits, you can click that link on your PC. Um, Play the game, get your character to level 20, and it helps me out. So you can help out that way as opposed to sacrificing some of your hard earned cash. I understand the times are tough. Please and thank you. Google won't comment on a potentially massive leak of its search algorithm documentation. Woo boy. A purported leak of 2,500 pages of internal documentation from Google sheds light on how search, the most powerful arbiter of the internet, operates. Google's search algorithm is perhaps the most consequential system on the internet, dictating what sites live and die and what content on the web looks like. But how exactly Google ranks websites has long been a mystery, pieced together by journalists, researchers, and people working in search engine optimization. Now, an explosive leak that purports to show thousands of pages of internal documents appears to offer an unprecedented look under the hood of how search works and suggests that Google hasn't been entirely truthful about it for years. Shocked. Shocked, I say. So far, Google hasn't responded to multiple requests for comment on the legitimacy of the documents. Yeah, I mean we could put solar panels on the moon. Yeah, I mean I'm for all the things. Uh Randy Fishkin, who worked in SEO for more than a decade, says a source shared 2,500 pages of documents with him with the hopes that reporting on the leak would counter the lies that Google employees had to share or had shared about how the search algorithm works. What up, old lobster? Yeah, no, definitely report back. Apparently, Discord is a very good place to drop documents. Um, you know, yeah, I don't trust corporations, Cat. I do a trust but verify kind of thing, but no, I expect corporations to be as they are. You know what I mean? Moon elk. But what about the cows? What about the moon cows? Cows, it's in the story, Levelhead. They literally jump over the moon, right? What about the moon cows? What will the solar panels on the moon do to the moon cows? People don't ask the real questions. Um, The documents outline Google's search API and break down what information is available to employees, according to Fishkin. The details shared by Fishkin are dense and technical, likely more legible to developers and SEO experts than the layperson. The contents of the leak are also not necessarily proof that Google uses the specific data and signals it mentions for search rankings. Rather, the leak outlines what data Google collects from web pages, sites, and searchers and offers indirect hints to SEO experts about what Google seems to care about, as SEO expert Mike King wrote in his overview of the documents. The leaked documents touch on topics like what kind of data Google collects and uses, which sites Google elevates for sensitive topics like elections, how Google handles small websites, and more. Some information in the documents appears to be in conflict with public statements by Google representatives. Lied is harsh, but it's the only accurate word to use here. While I don't necessarily fault Google's public representatives for protecting their proprietary information, I do take issue with their efforts to actively discredit people in the marketing, tech, and journalism worlds who have presented reproducible discoveries. Google has not responded to The Verge's request for comment. I did understand that reference he had. Um, Google has not responded to The Verge's request for comment regarding the documents, including a direct request to refute their legitimacy. Fishkin told The Verge in an email that the company has not disputed the veracity of the leak, but that an employee asked him to change some language in the post regarding how an event was characterized. Google's secretive search algorithm has birthed an entire industry of marketers who closely follow Google's public guidance and execute it for millions of companies around the world. The pervasive, often annoying tactics have led to a general narrative that Google's search results are getting worse, crowded with junk that website operators feel required to produce to have their sites seen. Um, yes, I don't feel that this is necessarily a today issue. I feel that this has been going on for quite some time. Um, I don't know what to tell you. One example cited by Fishkin and King is whether Google Chrome data is used in ranking at all. Google representatives have repeatedly indicate that it doesn't use Chrome data to rank pages, but Chrome is specifically mentioned in sections about how websites appear in search. In the screenshot below, which I captured as an example, the links appearing below the main Vogue.com URL may be created in part using Chrome data according to the documents. What? Uh, okay. like, okay, it's Vogue, right? Let me see let me see if I can suss this out real quick. Vogue, and then it says fashion, beauty, celebrity fashion shows, and it's the website. And if I could draw a line, I feel like I'm doing Pepe's over here. Um, or yeah, um, fashion. It's a magazine, right? There's no magazine, but we know it's a magazine, right? Fashion shows, beauty. like this isn't. I don't know what you're trying to indicate that you discovered here. Um, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Another question raised is what role, if any, EEAT plays in ranking. EEAT stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, a Google metric used to evaluate the quality of results. I would have to say that the existence of a search engine optimization industry refutes the idea that you could use this to do stuff, right? Be like they're at cross purposes. So if your search structure, your device, is what about it, Levelhead? if it can be manipulated through a process of search engine optimization, an entire industry is making millions, if not billions, of dollars on adjusting people's position in the search results, then you that means that this doesn't exist. Or at least that you can negate its ability to do its job. You know what I mean? Right. It's always going to have other incentives. This is. And if you're just doing it according, like, I don't know, like, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. King, however, detailed how Google appears to collect author data from a page and has a field for whether an entity on the page is the author. A portion of the document shared by King reads that the field was mainly developed and tuned for news articles, but also populated for other content, ergo scientific articles. Though this doesn't confirm that bylines are an explicit ranking metric, it does show that Google is at least keeping track of this attribute. Google representatives have previously insisted that author bylines are something website owners should do for readers, not Google, because it doesn't impact rankings. Though the documents aren't exactly a smoking gun, they provide a deep, unfiltered look at the tightly guarded black box system. The U.S. government antitrust case against Google, which revolves around search, has also led to internal documents becoming public, offering further insights into how the company's main product works. Google's general caginess on how search works has led to websites looking the same as SEO marketers trying to outsmart Google based on hints the company offers. Fishkin also calls out the publication. Stevie, settle your hash, dude. Um, 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 um. Yeah, you're stepping on my wires, bro. Cats, chaos. Ah, yeah, I don't know, man. It's all sketchy. What up, Nemesis? No, but for real, we went from information to advertising at some point we never recovered. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. The entire thing has been sus ever since some point where we didn't even realize it was changing. Have a secondary search engine ready, and for a lot of people, that is DuckDuckGo. Google has operated on a monopoly for quite some time, and frankly, this is what spoils it and leads to a growing subset. I'm with you. At the same time, DuckDuckGo is apparently Bing, which I only know because there was a Bing outage and it affected DuckDuckGo. So I don't even know what to do anymore. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. In my opinion, the biggest problem with Google is the search engine giving you its preferred results, not the best results. True. Start pages anonymize Google results without the BS. Start pages another thingy. But even that is like, I don't know. The internet is too big. We need a smaller internet. 6 things on it tops. Sound good? And of course, I should be there. In good news, hopefully good news, it's not up to, how do you say, hyper availability. It's not as good as results either, but give it time. Sure. White House announces actions to less internet, more Globus, right? Back to AOL. I'm fine with back to AOL. AOL still exists. What are you doing? Going? White House announces actions to modernize America's electrical grid, paving the way for clean energy and fewer outages. Yes, we're going back to MySpace, GeoCities. We are going to simplify the internet. We're taking it back. We have to go forward to the future, not past to the back. The White House on Tuesday announced steps to modernize a major roadblock to clean energy transformation, America's aging electrical infrastructure. The new initiative between the feds and 21 states aims to make faster fixes and improvements to the grid, committing to build a bigger and more modern grid, part of a larger effort to reduce power outages and increase electrical transmission capacity. Massive hurdle to getting more clean energy on the grid and reducing the planet warming pollution causing the climate crisis. The announcement it came on the same day that hundreds of thousands of customers lost power in Texas. I'm going to assume that Texas is not part of these 21 states because Texas has disconnected itself from the national grid. So that during destructive storms Tuesday morning following a deadly holiday weekend of severe weather across the South and Midwest. Weather related power outages are on the rise as stronger storms put more pressure on outdated infrastructure, a recent report from nonprofit research group Climate Central found. building on the Biden. Nope. Here might be the reason that my wires are no longer working properly, sir. Building on the turn off your shit and go outside. The building on the Biden Harris administration's legislative accomplishments and executive actions in tackling the grid modernization challenge, the initiative aims to bring together states, federal entities, and power sector stakeholders to help drive grid adaptation quickly and cost effectively to meet the challenges and opportunities that the power sector faces in the 21st century. Cost effectively, bro? Like, that just feels like you're leaving stuff on the table. Important stuff, needed stuff. White House National Climate Advisor Ali Zaidi called the new initiative unprecedented. There's another one, Levelhead. It's just unprecedented all the way down today, or not today, these days. And said it will drive grid adaptation quickly and cost effectively. We are investing tens of billions, the most significant public investment in a generation, to strengthen our grid to prevent power outages in the face of extreme weather, bolster U.S. energy security, and drive innovation. U.S. currently has a major clean energy problem. There's more electricity from solar power alone waiting to get on the grid than the entire amount of energy currently on the grid. To combat the climate crisis and increase the amount of cheap energy from clean sources like wind and solar, the U.S. needs more modern high voltage transmission lines. And it's coming at a critical time. While electricity demand in the U.S. has remained relatively flat over the past few decades, set to spike in the coming years due to the dramatic rise in data centers and AI, as well as demand from electric vehicles. And going beyond this, right? Like, we could have. I know certain groups of people like to freak out about they're coming for your gas stove or coal-fired pizza oven or whatever the hell. We could have electrified more of the the stuff that we use and been farther on the road to reducing carbon had we expanded earlier. And this is not new, right? Like, what, about 20 years ago, they were talking about, like, because there was a major power outage in, like, the Ohio area. I'm recalling from memory. It could even be longer than that, right? But, like, we were talking about our aging electrical infrastructure. And that was the time to move. Is back when you find the problem, not 2 decades later, and now you're trying to play catch up. It's friggin' exhausting. Okay, this isn't specifically related to, what I tend to stay on, but I figured y'all might think it was important. YouTube is muting or skipping to the end of videos for users with ad blockers. Some makers of ad block software are working on updates that will bypass these measures. Having trouble watching YouTube videos lately? It may be because you're using ad blocking software. YouTube users who have ad blocking software turned on are reporting that when they try to watch a video on the service, it may mute or skip suddenly to the end rather than play normally. Warning, Alex. Users reported the strange behavior in a Reddit thread posted on Monday. The original poster shares I mean, y'all longer term viewers know how I feel um about news that points back to Reddit threads. But anyway, the original poster shared a screen grab of Gamer's Nexus video automatically skipping to the end. That user then attempts to play the video again from a random point, only to have the video immediately end again. The muting issue also hit some users, with one person reporting they were able only to hear audio from a video if they constantly adjusted the volume. No, I put it in the bucket of stuff that could be a thing, but I need more. And what ends up happening, Old Lobster, is there'll be like, you know, 15 different organizations, reputable organizations that are reporting on this issue, and they all, you know, they all go back to a single Reddit post. And it's like, this is your source. This is your source, is some guy said, right? There's definitely no way that no one on the internet ever manipulates images for their own benefit or humor. That never happens, right? Like, none of that ever occurs. Yeah, exactly, Alex, and that's where. I mean, most hometown newspapers are just this old man who had the time to tell us the thing we asked about said. I was going to ask Levelhead if that was accurate, and then I just think back to the story about the cannon, or the not cannon. It's not a cannon. It's what the hell is it called? Levelhead. Um, oh, it is a cannon. I thought it had a weird name. Right, it's a specific type of cannon, and that's what I was trying to remember. So yeah, ordnance, not ordinance, ordnance. Um, so yeah, just understand that if you're having issues with watching YouTube videos, you might want to um, disable your ad blocker, or pay for a service. Long Tom. I built a long Tom model when I was a kid. That is an option, Alex. AI is making economists rethink the story of automation. Ordinance is too fucking loud to be used on 4th of July. Yeah, no, that was. Maybe we could fake fire the cannon. Oh, it broke windows? I didn't realize it. I thought they were worried it was going to break windows. I didn't realize it actually um, broke windows. Yeah, no, I mean, there's the balancing act, right? Like, if I can get all the things that I want, I'm willing to pay a convenience tax in order to get it, right? Um, it's the thing with that people make the argument around piracy of video materials. You want to media, you want to watch, the things, and you've got to have 16 different services, and they're all charging you X amount of dollars and everything else like that. You are straining the convenience tax. And then you end up with people doing this skipping from service to service thing and all that other stuff. Just get your numbers right, and people will pay for it. It's when you try to squeeze people too much that they start getting sketchy. Is artificial intelligence about to put vast numbers of people out of a job? It's a hell of a question. Let's find out. Most economists would argue the answer is no. If technology permanently puts people out of work, then why, after centuries of new technologies, are there still so many jobs left? Jesus Christ. New technologies, they claim, make the economy more productive and allow people. This is Harvard Business Review, by the way. I just want to point that out. New technologies, they claim, make the economy so productive or more productive and allow people to enter new fields, like the shift from agriculture to manufacturing. For that reason, economists have historically shared a general view that whatever upheaval might be caused by technological change, it is somewhere between benign and benevolent. But as new AI models and tools are released almost weekly, that consensus is cracking. Evidence is mounted that digital technologies have helped to increase inequality in the US and around the world. As computers have made knowledge workers more productive, for instance, they have also lowered demands for middle wage jobs like clerical worker or administrative assistant. In response, some economists have started to revise their models of how technology, and particularly automation, affects labor markets. The possibility that technological improvements that increase productivity can actually reduce the wage of all workers is an important point to emphasize because it's often downplayed or ignored. Holy cats! Harvard Business Review. This new economics of automation retains the core idea that in the long run, technology often makes workers more productive and so allows their wages to rise. But it also raises two important points. First, there is a big difference between using technology to automate existing work, creating entire new capabilities that couldn't exist before. Second, the path of technology depends in part on who's deciding how it's used. AI offers vast tools for augmenting workers and enhancing work. We must master those tools and make them work for us. To a point, right? Like ultimately, the promise of AI and its automation in meat space is that you can completely replace a worker and not just, again, in the simplest sense, things like you had the loom, right? We're going to the loom. We're doing the loom. You had the loom, and the loom, a person could be more efficient at creating fabric than they could prior to the existence of the loom, right? They could do more, they could make more. Then you had the power loom, which did the same thing on another scale, right? Like a whole other level of power looming. Okay. But at the heart of all three of those, the original, the loom, then the power loom, there is a worker. If I can replace the worker with a robot, then there is no job. Job gone. Right? It is not technology making workers more productive. It is technology replacing the worker in and of themselves. This is the thing. And then just take that loom, that robot powered loom, and apply it to wherever workers do anything. Right? I'm not saying tomorrow. I'm not saying that particular jobs aren't really complicated and da 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 and da 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 da. But there is nothing, unless we come up against the laws of physics, there is nothing that is going to stop the tide of full automation. Yeah, exactly, Elrod. Like that is like the Luddite story is misunderstood, which is why I never refer to people as Luddites. I avoid it. Like I can't say never because I might have at some point in time. But I generally do not refer to people as Luddites or fall into that kind of thing. You know, I look at their specific concerns and address their specific concerns. Bicentennial Man. Okay. I'm going to read this sentence and I want you to think about it as I'm reading it. If you watch the Robin Williams movie, The Bicentennial Man, it actually covers how robots probably won't replace workforces. I am not saying that you cannot draw lessons from fictional media, right? There you can absolutely draw lessons. But the important thing to always remember about fictional media is that it is fiction intended to tell some sort of moral story. So the author is allowed to put their fingers on the scale and make adjustments where necessary in order to move their story where they want to. This is why people who bring up the Butlerian Jihad from the Dune universe miss the point that the reason that Herbert introduced the Butlerian Jihad into the Dune universe is that he was moving like 30,000 years into the future. And if you include artificial intelligence in that, and the ideas of automation, then you can eliminate a lot of the problems that are caused, and it makes for a different kind of storytelling. And it's not the story that Herbert wanted to tell. Not sure that's true. High rise from J.G. Ballard will teach a person what class just. Uh, then you're not listening. You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're responding to what you think I'm saying. I need you to listen to the actual words that are coming out of my mouth because they are the words that I mean. I don't mean anything other than the words that I'm saying. Okay? So, once again, if it's a piece of fiction, I am not saying you cannot draw lessons from a piece of fiction, right? Specifically addressing your comment, Kat, I addressed that. That's how I opened up. Fiction can provide you with lessons. However, fiction is written by an author who's trying to tell a story and can put their finger on the scale in order to adjust what the story does. Fiction, good fiction, is always primarily about the story first, lesson second. Because in order for a story to be compelling, it has to be interesting and everything else. And sometimes you do stuff like, why didn't the Eagles just take the goddamn ring to Mordor and drop it in the fucking thing? Right? Like, you have to have a story there. But it's fiction. You do a Butlerian Jihad, so I don't have to worry about the robots and AI. Right? And there's a bunch of stories that appears in. There's a whole bunch of like issues. Why didn't Skynet just start firing Terminators back every second into the past? You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole bunch of things that break down under analysis of a realistic system. Okay? Because it's fiction. So, while there might be a commentary and an argument contained within Bicentennial Man, don't get me wrong, I like Bicentennial Man, it's fiction. And it was written at a point in time before we were at where we are at now. There is nothing other than the laws of physics that are going to prevent us from being able to automate any particular job. Economists understand the world by building models. Isaac, Isaac Asimov did think machines would replace us, but that it would be due to biological fragility, not Ayn Rand business people like the company in Alien. Yes. People sometimes bring up the three laws of robotics is we should just do that to prevent the robots and AI from, overthrowing us. But the entire purpose of the introduction of the three laws of robotics were to discuss their shortcomings, and it just an example of people missing the very lessons that fiction is, trying to provide them with. Yes, Elrod, it's more about the culture of the time that it's written in than in the future. Like Terminator 2 is not about technology and robots and everything else. It's human story. It addresses discussions about the human condition. James Cameron can eat a dick. I'm sorry. Like, you come out and you say, oh, it's about man's hubris and over reliance on technology. Then why did Arnold Schwarzenegger become a good guy from the second movie on? You're full of shit. Anywho, uh, economists understand the world by building models. These models attempt to capture the messy, sprawling reality of modern economies, but they are intentionally simplified. The aim is to illustrate key choices and trade offs that shape the economy. In the process, these models often help to shape what policymakers pay attention to. As economists update their models of automation, they are both changing the field's understanding of what technology does to workers and shifting the debate about how politicians and regulators should respond. Economists' positive view of technology and what it does to labor markets comes from a fairly straightforward place. The story of the 20th century is one of technology seeming to lift most boats. In 1900, 41% of U.S. workers worked in agriculture. By 2000, only 2% did. That transition was made possible by new machinery, like plows and harvesters, that were first horse-powered, then mechanized. At the same time, machinery created a boom in manufacturing. New cities and towns sprang up around new manufacturing businesses, and the U.S. economy became more urban, more industrial, and much, much richer. Wages rose and hours worked fell. The share of workers employed in the most physical, grueling occupations dropped dramatically, according to economic historian Robert Gordon. The shifts had many causes and were not unambiguously good. Nonetheless, as Gordon concludes, they improved Americans' well being considerably, and they could not have occurred without new technology. Technology has the potential to make us more productive and grows the economic pie, and this dynamic remains central to economists' understanding of prosperity and growth. Without the mechanization of agriculture, the stark increase in living standards seen in many parts of the world over the last 2 centuries would not have been possible. This is reflected in the models this history spawned. And those models include a crucial assumption that no one was left worse off. And I mean, it's, yeah. And this is the thing. Like, you can make the yes, yes, yeah. That is absolutely the thing. Um, and it pissed James Cameron off to admit it, right? Even though he had to, he legally had to. He paid Ellison a pittance for the use of his story, and then he got mad about it. So I don't know what to tell people. Anyhow, is, is the because this is always subjective, and like you get into the Steven Pinker thing and the homie Ivan Neo, and how like the idea of lifting people out of abject poverty is like, okay, first of all, where is your line drawn? Obviously, like this is abject poverty, but $1 more is no longer abject poverty. It's questionable on its face. But beyond that is the idea that you know lifting people out of abject poverty is from a certain point of view, you know, like not everything can be quantified in terms of GDP and everything else. Buckminster Fuller is usually right. Um, and it's also what it does is it really, let's say that it's true, right? Let's say I'm going to give Steven Pinker and the rest a benefit of the doubt and say that yes, all these people have been lifted out of this abject poverty. It only makes the people who haven't been lifted out of abject poverty more glaring as an issue, right? Like whatever's working over here is not working over here, and why is that? Right? Do we need to scrape more money away from the people who have all this money to do all these things and give it in some fashion, whatever works for you, to create a better environment for these people who are still in this concept of abject poverty, right? Why are there why are there still people suffering in the world? And that's what it comes down to for me. You can say whatever the hell you want about lifting people out, capitalism lifting people out of abject poverty and all that other stuff. It's fine. Is then why are there still people suffering? Like why is this still a thing going on when you know why is there this inequality to the extreme? I'll be as reasonable as you need me to, but I'm not going to stop asking the question. Right? It sounds like people saying that they we should feel good because there's less people who are suffering in the world. To an extent, that's true, but to a much deeper extent, it's just yeah, struggle is good for you. It just gets to the point of like we are we are failing. It's a pass fail kind of thing. We can do better. Hey, you're in the cat. You're in the same boat as I am. Uh, salvation is a great people. People don't respect Terminator Salvation enough. Anywho, um, yeah, this article goes on. I'm already at an hour and a half. It'll be in the Discord. I think the Dow guy might be either a genius who can't speak English or full of shit. Holy moly. Yes. I'm drawing in a few different pieces of information about that, right? Like on the what they wrote in chat, and then also um where they got banned, right? Like you got banned in a particular place, and I think assembling a whole bunch of information, or making some assumptions based on the available data, um, I think I figured out why, right? Um, so, anywho, look at all these starving children, man. This is horrible. Yes, but you're failing to consider that I just got to do Tesla. Yes, and don't get me wrong, like I don't think it's an all or nothing. Um, are they really? Oh, if they're a POS, we could just ban them. I have no, you know. I am so like this is the most open and welcoming community, and you can have. I don't hold people to any particular political positions. You can be, you can be a capitalist and hang out in this chat as long as you're not an asshole about it, right? Like, I try to make a space where people can talk and communicate. I do not insta-ban liberals. I do not insta-ban anybody. That's not exactly true. Somebody got insta-banned because, I'm sorry, if you were born in 1988, sorry about your damn luck. Yeah. Yeah, you could be a lib. I don't have a problem with libs. We watch libs, right? A bunch of people in the space. Yeah, you did, Larry. Pick a different number. That's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. I don't care. Isinisms, is like it was in Celticness, and they were talking about, like both sides of that. I don't do Isinisms, but it doesn't serve the point of view of the primary means of conversation, right? Like I want to talk about policy. I want to talk about ideas. I want to talk about that kind of stuff, and I don't want to get, you know, um, okay. So yeah, we might have to turn up the volume. But yeah, you get what I'm saying, right? Like I want to talk about ideas. Really? Are you being serious, Adam? Because it's exactly who I was talking about. And if that's a friend of yours, okay. Sorry, homie. Shooter's on deck. I will tell them I will fix it after stream. Um, yeah, that was. You might want to explain to them that you need to that they might not want to go with that as a Twitch handle, um, because of that obvious reason. You know what I mean? Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Do do do. I could fix it right now. Yeah, it really is, right? Like, and they're not the only one. There is a person who has an 88 in their name that, I'll tell them I'll fix it right now because you vouch for them. That's good enough for me. Um, so yeah, they're yeah, and Alex. Normally, I wouldn't. That would not be. What up, Pharaoh? That would not be a thing, right? Like I'm sorry about your damn luck. That's where. But if somebody's going to vouch for them, somebody that obviously is a VIP in my community, and I'm going to wait that. You know, yeah, Elron Hubbard. I get it. It's funny. you know, But there's another person with an 88. If you have an 88 in your name, you really want to change it. Change it. It's just not going to fly. You're going to run into problems. You know. Anyways, let's proceed through these articles. AI tutors are quietly changing how kids in the U.S. study, and the leading apps are from China. Oh, Evan, a high school sophomore from Houston, was stuck on a calculus problem. He pulled up Answer AI on his iPhone, snapped a photo of the problem from his advanced placement math textbook, um, and ran it through the homework app. Within a few seconds, Answer AI had generated an answer alongside a step by step process of solving the problem. A year ago, Evan would be scouring long YouTube videos in hopes of tackling his homework challenges. He also had a private tutor who cost $60 per hour. Now, the arrival of AI bots is posing a threat to long established tutoring franchises such as Kumon, the 66-year-old Japanese giant that has 1,500 locations and nearly 290,000 students across the U.S. They took your job. Yeah. The tutor's hourly cost is about the same as Answer AI's whole year of subscription, Evan told me, so I stopped doing a lot of in person tutoring. Now, again, there are, at this point in time, there are, it's not perfect, yada, yada, yada. But there are tremendous advantages for this obvious reason. $60 an hour versus $60 per year for this AI tutor. And the AI tutor is available 24/7. It, doesn't get frustrated, doesn't have a bad day, it doesn't forget to charge its watch. It doesn't have a mic that randomly cuts out. There are tremendous advantages to the AI tutor. Um, Unfortunately, like a bunch of it is like the ethics of trying to run a study are questionable, right? Like we're gonna take it doesn't feel pity. If we're gonna take 20 kids, we're gonna take 40 kids, right? 20 of them are gonna get an AI tutor, and 20 of them are not, right? Like, is that ethical to whichever group does worse, right? I mean, if school didn't matter for the rest of your life and yada yada yada, then it could be ethical, but currently it kind of isn't. Um, I'm currently using it to understand the process for building my own web app assistant for the purpose of consolidating my task list and integrating Trello and Obsidian. Yeah, no, and ChatGPT is great. Like they're all they're all great, except at building buildings in Minecraft. Then some of them are not so great. And that's the thing is like the advantage to the AI tutor is that it's always going to be patient with you, right? It's not going to get frustrated. It'll explain the same thing in 60 different ways if you need that in order to gain an understanding. Where a human being is going to get frustrated. They're just, you know, I can't say it no other way. I don't speak no other languages, right? Like you run out of options and ways of explaining something because of your limited capacity to do that kind of thing. Where the AIs have access to vast troves of data that have explained, things in different ways, and then there's their own capabilities. The vision of equitable AI powered learning isn't fully realized yet. Like other apps that forward API calls to LLMs, AI tutors suffer from hallucinations and can spit out wrong answers. Answer AI tries to improve its accuracy through RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, a method that fine tunes an LLM with certain domain knowledge, in this case, a sea of problem sets, but still making more mistakes than the last generation homework apps that match user queries with an existing library of practice problems, as those apps don't try to answer questions they don't already know. Some students are aware of AI's limitations. Evan often cross checks answers from Answer AI with ChatGPT, while Maihan uses Answer AI in an after school study group to bounce ideas off her peers. But Evan and Maihan are the types of self driven students who are more likely to use AI as a learning aid, while some of their peers may handedly delegate AI to do their homework without learning anything. If it's the picture of the rat with huge genitalia that was put into the one paper, then yeah, I'm aware. Um, but what you're doing is you're demonstrating right there an example of uh, one of the things that irritates me the most about people's approach to AI is that people will outliers are created all the time in every system. The outliers created around AI are then used as an example of a of the whole of the thing, right? So the issue with that was that the person who created that, what are the conditions that led to the creation of that paper, and why did they use, the AI, and why didn't they check to make sure that the pictures were accurate? You can take a look. You, as a layperson who knows nothing about what they're talking about in the paper, can take a look at that and realize that there's something wrong with it. So why didn't the people who were putting out the paper do that? Right? Again, it's not an issue of the AI, it's an issue with the people and the system that those people are functioning under. And the other thing is, when did that event happen? And why is it continually being used as an example of of the problem with AI, right? This one event. Why is the Willy Wonka thing still being brought up as an example of a problem with artificial intelligence, as opposed to an example of how people are shitty no matter what, and people are taking advantage of people's desire to provide their children with a good time, that kind of thing. Sure, but where did the AI come up with that stuff? A Reddit post, a Onion article, right? Like this kind of thing. It all stems back to the people. You can, like, okay, all right, we're done. We're gonna wrap up with this little piece of, there are groups of people on the internet who are organized, who drink their own urine for its health benefits. This has nothing to do with artificial intelligence. This has everything to do with the behaviors of people, right? What up, Recite? What up, Professor? Right? This is my point. I don't will AI screw up, hallucinate, provide incorrect answers? Yes. Are there people who are validating the drinking of urine, aged urine, I don't know what you want me to tell you. I don't know what to do with that, right? It's just humans are ultimately the problem here. The humans are the ones who created the I'm not even reading that read. Yeah, there you go. I'm there are there are people everywhere who are down with the drinking of the pee. Regular ass humans. We had a whole thing. There, you tell me about how the AI is going to provide us with disinformation and misinformation. I give you QAnon. I give you the people who were out there taking the ivermectin. I give you the people who are making it illegal to wear a mask in public. The friggin' people are the friggin' problem. Okay? I'm done. Diggity done, y'all. Diggity done. All right, stick around for the raid. I don't know. Somebody mentioned Lucid earlier, so I'm gonna raid Lucid. Let me make sure I'm spelling this right. Boop. Stick around for the raid. It makes it, makes me look like big strong streamer. Makes our community look like a place that other people want to join and learn about AI. If you're watching this on YouTube, come join the chaos over here on twitch.tv globus underscore the underscore elder. And if you don't want to do that because of the chaos, then make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell to stay notified. I will be back this evening at 5 p.m. to watch some videos with y'all. Matt Wolf has something to say about the OpenAI stuff. It should be a good time. So, in the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you forgot, and always remember, Chuggy loves you. So do I. Be great.